Hello everyone and welcome to our MTA Committee meeting reaction video for the month of September. And this is your host, Jason Anthony Pinheiro. And first thing first, before we go to the committee videos, we want to provide exclusive information that I received this afternoon thanks to nothing less than the executive director of the PCAC, Lisa Dagnan, that she forwarded me this email from Political. Let's open a new window that we can see the whole email. Court rules NYPD must disclose fare beater figures. This article was written by Aaron Duncan. A judge ordered the NYPD to release data on who is arresting and ticketing for fare evasion. After a city council member sued the department for refusing to turn over information required by a city law, council member Rory Lagman filed two lawsuits seeking to force police to hand over data on the number of arrests and summonses at each subway station, broken down by race, sex, and age. A law passed by the council in 2017 required the NYPD to publish quarterly reports with the information, but the department never did. In a ruling on Monday, the state Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron said that the NYPD must release the information under the Freedom of Information Law. And we quote, "The argument sets forth by respondents that publication of statistics of arrests and summonses issued for subway fare evasion will lead criminals to discern police staffing patterns is speculative at best and improbable at worst." He wrote, "This court cannot conceive that criminals will read the statistics like gamblers will read the daily race form to determine where next to pickpockets and mud riders." Citywide, 89% of people arrested for subway fare evasion are Black or Latino, something that board member David Jones always argued. Police officers typically hit people caught jumping the turnstile with a $100 fine, but arrest repeat offenders and people with open arrest warrants for another crime or fare evaders who cannot produce identification. The court has confirmed that what every New Yorker already assumed, that the NYPD was comply with the law and that the council and the public are entitled to the information they need to address racially biased policing in New York City, said Lagman, who sued along the Community Service Society of New York, organization was run by nothing less than board member David Jones. It is unacceptable that federation is enforced almost exclusively against people of color, and I expect this data to help us to bring about real change. He said the MTA lost $225 million to Federation in 2018, up from $110 million in 2015. The NYPD did not immediately respond a request for comment. And again, I want to thank Lisa Daglian for providing me with this valuable information this afternoon. But our main topic. Throughout the day today, we were attending a series of committee meetings. And for the first time ever, we attended literally every single of them. From this one that we're gonna see portions of the public comments and some commentary that I'm going to do regarding that particular meeting. And then we're gonna do transit, then we're gonna do finance and CPOC. But something odd happens in a certain committee meeting. So with no further ado, we're gonna hear from Orrin Getz. Orrin Getz is the vice chair of the Metro North Commuter Council. Let's listen to his speech.
It's a front page article.
Give me 1 second. Let's get our audio ready.
That Metro North will receive $5 billion in the upcoming MTA 2020 to 2040 capital program. Included in this article was $187 million for improvements to Metro North service west of Hudson, which includes the Port Jervis and Pascack Valley lines. What the article did not mention was what items compose that $187 million. One project that is urgently needed is to improve the Suffern train station and make it handicapped accessible. On September 10th, 2019, Rockland County Executive Edward Day sent an excellent letter to Metro North President Kathy Rinaldi specifying the need to upgrade the Suffern station and make it handicapped accessible. On September 12th, 2019, I attended the New Jersey Transit Board meeting and raised the issue that New Jersey Transit has not yet told us when we're getting back our second weekday express train on the Pascack Valley line. This information is long overdue, and we need an answer from New Jersey Transit. I also brought up the issue that New Jersey Transit has not provided us with a status on PTC installations, which is a major issue. Metro North provides the status on PTC on a monthly basis. Thank you.
Okay, there you had Orrin Getz once again addressing the issue with a Suffern station. Let's do a small experiment. And we're going to use Google Maps. Let's get this out of the way. the thing about Google Maps, it doesn't provide you with the stations along NJT. See, Suffern is right here. And that's Suffern Station right there. But here's the issue with Suffern Station. It could be near the New York and New Jersey borderline, although that is in New York. But here's the issue. It's operated and maintained by nothing less than New Jersey Transit Rail Operations Inc. And we have several issues that we totally agree with oriented regarding NJT. There's the satellite view of the station. Let's see if we could put it in 3D size. That's the station house of Suffern. There's the parking lot. And of course, you have Chestnut Street. And at the present time, Suffern Station is not ADA accessible and it doesn't comply with Metro North standards. And unfortunately, between Orangate and Randy Lotzman, both who represent commuters from Metro North, especially those of west of Hudson, let's say upper west of Hudson, they have to deal with either canceled trains, shortage of engineers, shortage of equipment, all because of New Jersey Transit Rail Operations Inc. legislation. But going forward, we're going to hear what our let's say Long Island advocate John from Pike Power LI, a commuter from Long Island from the main line. Let's listen the the speech. Let's say the best speech that a Long Islander could make in making the argument of the case of discrimination against those who rely on the main line. So, with no further ado, let's listen to John.
Well, I guess I wasn't clear enough the last time. Let me make things crystal clear that your continued discrimination against us on the main line is getting more evident with every day that passes. The way this modernization project is being handled without regard to the communities in its path is appalling. Shutting down service and then not providing any busing in place of trains is hurting our towns. In Mineola, where I live, businesses around our station have been losing a lot of money because the station is a ghost town. Instead of providing busing between Floral Park and Hicksville, you direct everyone to go to the South Shore and put extra service there, which is actually a longer trip than just using busing. and that is more evident of your favoritism toward the South Shore. Their towns thrive while our towns die. Then this past weekend, Long Beach branch riders get busing in place of trains at all their train stations. Come on, you don't think we're that stupid. Meanwhile, all we get is a shuttle to Hempstead, which is not safe area at all to wait for a train. Mineola is one of your busiest stations. Many people travel both east and west, yet without any busing provided. How are people supposed to get to points east of Hicksville from Mineola? Then I read that the Port Washington branch will get busing for a weekend in October. It seems everyone gets busing but us. You are violating our rights and, more importantly, the law, and I have filed Title VI complaints against your organization. You think you can keep getting away with trying to ruin our lives in the middle of the island. Just the other day, you canceled 2 mainline trains in a row, leaving an hour gap in service in the Ronkonkoma branch. We have vagrants hanging out our stations in Mineola, and MTA police is never around. We do not feel safe in Mineola at all. But I know we're not all finance professionals connected to Wall Street. We're all human beings and deserve a safe, clean service and substitute busing when construction work is done. And lastly, the way you treat Floral Park is criminal. That station is in shambles, yet Lynbrook gets a renovation even though it's in better condition because it's the South Shore. And to Mr. Filling, I'm very disappointed in you. It's a shame you care more about your paycheck than taking a stand against the Wall Street corruption machine that runs this organization. Take a hard look in the mirror because you're all a bunch of snobs, and I know it hurts to hear the truth. But that's the truth. Look in the mirror.
Then we had John from Pipe Power Alive making, let's say, telling the truth. I have been to Mineola in several occasions. During the day, it's fine, but at nighttime, not so much. It's just like being around Jamaica. The same thing. If you're outside of either Jamaica Center or in the outskirts of Sawson Archer, you're you're on your own risk. And that's why I tend to avoid Jamaica at all costs, unless if it's necessary. Now we're going to hear from the most annoying person ever. And who are we talking about? You guys know who? Murray Bolden, aka Mr. Flashing Red Lights at Great Crossing. Let's listen what he had to say in the Community Rail meeting.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Murray Bowden, followed by Nancy Montgomery.
Your board outside says I should speak on the agenda. I pulled this off the internet last night. I'm going to speak on Kathy's report today. It wasn't there. I'm sure it wasn't written last night between 10 o'clock last night and this morning. It could have been there for me to. So I'll come back after you make your report and comment on it.
Here's the thing regarding Murray Bolden. He thinks that he could get away with it. After Kathy Rinaldi read her report, he was standing in that same podium for 2 minutes. But guess what? He didn't get to speak because he used his time at that moment. Why does he need to comment after the president's report? To be honest with you guys, every time that he speaks, it makes me laugh out loud. Although they have to do it in a low voice, but if it was a different setting other than the boardroom, I'll be laughing out loud like a cynical brat. Because I despise Murray Bolden. Murray Bolden doesn't count opinions like Andy's Randomness, Matt Camper, John from Pipe Power Ally, Kevin from MTA Prodigy, Vincent Lorena, Omar Vera, myself included. He doesn't add, he subtracts. But let's try to find the period when Kevin Love did a comment regarding Babylon. Let's listen into Phil Ann's report.
Island Railroad forward, state of good repair work, and our modernization projects, we were able to achieve several major milestones this summer. This includes the delivery of the much anticipated M9s, which entered revenue service in early September. A special thanks.
Okay, Phil Ann said early September. The set date was exactly on September 11th. That myself, we rode the 1035 express train between Penn Station and Jamaica. But of course, they showed the very first ride that was early that morning between Huntington and Hunters. I think was Huntington and Hunters Point. Let's continue.
The board member Randy Glucksman for joining us on our inaugural ride from Huntington, which you can see here. But it was truly an unprecedented summer for us. Year to date, we've replaced 15 critical switches, including those at Amont Interlocking, located on the Port Jefferson branch, and Nassau Interlocking, which contains 17 separate switches on the mainline corridor. These locations see some of the highest train volumes in our system. On a daily basis, more than 100 trains pass through Amont, and over 260 go through Nassau. Given this heavy traffic and the age of the switches, we were vulnerable to component failures and service disruptions. In 2018 and 2019 alone, we experienced 57 incidents, resulting in 338 delays associated with 4 switches in Nassau. And as we replace and upgrade these components, we are seeing dramatic improvements in reliability. This coming weekend, crews will continue work at Nassau, bringing immediate benefit to our customers, and when work is finished, it will allow us to better allocate resources to other areas in the system. We also work closely with our partners at Amtrak on their efforts to bring Penn Station to a state of good repair through their own switch upgrades. We strategically place staff to support necessary outages, allowing them to complete their work timely. As we are doing across our system, we are demonstrating that we can accomplish critical work at difficult locations. I need to thank the Long Island Railroad workforce for their efforts and our riders for their patience as we rebuild and improve reliability and capacity for both today and for the future generations. And speaking of improved operations, I know that John Oliva will provide more details shortly, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few words. Working with our partners in capital construction under Jano's leadership, we successfully replaced 2 problematic grade crossings at Colbert and Urban Avenue along our busy main line. Each was completed over the course of a weekend, providing threefold benefit: a more seamless commute throughout this highly trafficked corridor, improved connectivity and accessibility within the community, and environmental benefits to the community through elimination of idling vehicles caused by down gates and sounding of horns from passing trains. The coordination between the Long Island Railroad workforce and the design build team could not have been done without the support of our labor leaders. Track, signal, power, all staff were instrumental in completing this work and demonstrating that the MTA is working even harder to deliver on our commitments. And while the traditional heavy construction season is winding down, we have more to do. Our aggressive state of good repair work will continue into the fall. As you can see, this month alone, we've taken on a tremendous amount of work, including mainline expansion work from Floral Park to Mervillon Avenue and from Carl Place to Hicksville, switch replacement at Nassau Interlocking, Sperry rail testing and repairs along the Port Jeff branch and Montauk branches, mechanized tire replacement between Babylon to Sayville, Lynbrook Station improvements, and sandy restoration work along the Long Beach branch. And next month, we'll continue to modernize our system. Notably, together with MTA Capital Construction, we'll replace and elevate Nassau Boulevard Bridge in Garden City, a bridge that has experienced 16 major strikes in 2018 and 19 alone, avoiding future delays and traffic congestion that's on surrounding roads. And later in October, we'll head further east, replacing North Main and Accabonac bridges in East Hampton, two bridges that, when struck by overhead vehicles, result in full-service suspensions. Not only are these bridge replacements game changers for our riders and the neighboring communities, they will improve the reliability of service across all of Long Island Railroad, because we know that one incident at the wrong time and at the wrong place will quickly ripple across our system. We know that this work reduces our operational flexibility, but I want to assure everyone that we continue to strategize how to best get this work done in the tightest time frame as possible. We're optimizing on our outages to minimize service impacts and to reduce the need to go back to those areas. We are building a better system for Long Island, and I thank our riders and our neighboring communities for their patience. Our maintenance of equipment staff have done an amazing work to improve our existing fleet's performance, and the new M9s that we rolled out into passenger service will further improve service, allowing our crews to devote more time to work on our older fleet. We've received great feedback on the smooth ride, and our customers are enjoying some new amenities. With the pilot cars now in service, Kawasaki is committed to production until all 202 cars are received and in service. And reliability and availability of fleet is essential as we continue to see consistent growth in ridership, a true testament that the railroad is the best way to get around Long Island. This August, we carried 214,000 more customers than last August, and year-to-date, ridership has grown by over 1.4 million riders. Our on-time performance for August registered at 92.1%, a significant improvement from last year's August numbers of 87.4%. Overall, our year-to-date on-time performance is 92.9%, 3 percentage points higher than the same period last year. These figures, I believe, are even more significant considering we're accomplishing unprecedented work and carrying a record number of riders. I attribute that to our continuous efforts to proactively tackle problematic high-priority locations while we move forward with new initiatives and modernization projects. We have more to do, but the benefits will be transformational and long-lasting. So before concluding, I'd like to reiterate my gratitude to our riders for their support and patience during this heavy construction season. Every day during my daily commute, customers speak to me and provide me invaluable feedback. We've been carrying out unparalleled amount of work while improving service and growing ridership. It's truly a big accomplishment. So as a way to say thank you and add value to a monthly ticket, we are reinstating our autumn weekend program for this year. Beginning on October 12th, our monthly riders can bring up to 4 friends and family members for $1 each on Saturdays and Sundays, anywhere in the system. This also comes on the heels of a very successful summer conclusion to our Summer Saturday program, which saw our ticket sales for that program in August increase by almost 15% when compared to last year. These initiatives go hand in hand with our other customer initiatives, such as Loyalty Program, Meet Your Managers, Long Island Railroad Care, My LIRR train tracking tool, and the new Mamava Pod. We hope this continues to get people out of their cars and enjoy all Long Island has to offer this fall. Thank you. Any questions?
Questions?
Yes.
Kevin?
Thank you, Phil. One of the gentlemen who spoke, while I neither appreciated or condoned his personal attacks or threats of litigation, his comments about Mineola issues, are they related to third track construction or something else? And were his facts correct? And if so, what's the big deal about providing a couple of buses?
So in the past, one of the things that we had done is provide busing.
Okay, now you hear Kevin Law responding to John's comment.
From every station along the corridor when service outages are done. We evaluated that, and in the past, we did not see the buses getting utilized to the extent that most people would find other means. However, we did provide busing from Mineola Station, which the gentleman brought up, and we actually spoke to the gentleman last week to get some information on this. But the busing that we have goes from Mineola to Hempstead Branch, and that actually is a very short, reliable ride. We enhanced the Hempstead Branch during these outages, so we have alternatives and we have options. They're just different from what we've had in the past. One thing we've done since we've spoken to the gentleman is we've spoken to Nice Bus.
Here's something regarding not so nice. Not so nice is so unreliable. Because the fact is that you have two routes serving Jamaica and Mineola. Talking about the M22 and M24. I have taken these two routes when I visited the Roosevelt Field Mall, or the time that I took the railroad to Mineola and transferred to the bus to go to Roosevelt Field Mall. But here's the thing, Kevin Law, he is the person who replaced Mitch Pally. As you know, Mitch Pally was the representative for Suffolk. Kevin Law, he is the representative of Suffolk County. In contrast, David Mack, who is not very vocal in raising concerns for his constituents in Nassau County. We see his name in every single ambulance on the Northwell Health System throughout Long Island and throughout New York City. It is time that David Mack, as a Nassau County representative, puts his feet on the ground and does his job as the representative of Nassau County in the MTA board. Let's continue.
They have a parallel bus route along our mainline branch, and while the ticket for a bus ride is cheaper, if anyone has a ticket along our railroad, NICE will cross-honor it. So we are adding to what we've done. We have bus service available, we have train service available options, and now we've added NICE to that.
Additional questions? Well, I have to say that you are living proof of something that I believe, which is if you want to increase ridership, build a bigger and better railroad.
Yes, and we're intent on doing that, and we're showing that it can be done.
I think Metro North is too.
Yes, the whole MTA family.
Are you going to do your safety report, or shall we? Operating budget, and we have to keep both in focus. Kevin, I apologize.
No apology necessary. Thanks for any great words. And Jano, something you said in the very beginning, first, a terrific report. You mentioned that things are going really well with the third track, and we want to use this as a model for as we move forward with the capital plan. And the fact that you are ahead of schedule and under budget sounds like it would be a terrific model as we move forward with the implementation of the capital work plan. Thank you.
Any additional comments? Chief, I think it's up to you.
Good morning.
As efforts are being implemented to hire 500 new police officers for the MTA, we do have needs in the Long Island Railroad and the Metro North systems, and we should have some of those new police officers, be utilized or assigned to the suburban rail systems as well. I'm going to continue to drive that home. And the number one issue I keep on getting phone calls on, and I've been pretty good because every time people reach out to me, I tell them to call Pat Foy or Phil Eng. But the one I get the phone calls about is still aggressive panhandling and other crimes at the Babylon Village train station.
Oops! Which train station did he mention? He didn't mention Floral Park. He didn't mention Mineola. He didn't mention Far Rockaway. He didn't mention Long Beach. He didn't mention Flushing Main Street. He didn't mention Queens Village. He didn't mention Hollis. He didn't mention Merrick. Which station did he mention? Babylon. Plain and simple. Babylon. Let's play that again.
Have some of those new police officers, be utilized or assigned to the suburban rail systems as well. I'm going to continue to drive that home. And the number one issue I keep on getting phone calls on, and I've been pretty good because every time people reach out to me, I tell them to call Pat Foy or Phil Eng. But the one I get the phone calls about is still aggressive panhandling and other crimes at the Babylon Village train.
See? There's the evidence that Kevin Law only cares about the South Shore. He's like the male version of, some people will hate me for this, Elisa Pica. Elisa Pica, who was the former executive vice president of the Long Island Railroad, was doing the same tactics that Kevin Law just said this very morning. Why he doesn't take the railroad on the main line at nighttime and go to stations like Merrick, Floral Park, Hollis, Queens Village, Jamaica, East New York, let me see, Valley Stream, Valley Stream, Mineola, Garden City, Coral Place, to see how the reality is when you compare it to Babylon. Let's listen to the end.
Train station. And Phil, I know you and Chief Monahan have been out to meet with the mayor and the state officials, and they continue to call me, and I'm just going to ask you and your offices if, can we go out and meet with them again? I'll be happy to participate. And if we could do that,
You guys heard John in the background. John's concerns are very valid. He lives in Mineola, where you have NYU Winthrop, right, let's say around the corner of Mineola Station. That same station is an intermodal complex between the LIRR and Not So Nice. It is the intermediate point to connect commuters east and west. Is the medium point to connect commuters from Jamaica to Long Island. For example, between Jamaica and Roosevelt Field Mall, and some other points. See, and you guys have the buses N22 going to Hicksville. You have the N22 going to Roosevelt Field Mall. You got the N24 going to Roosevelt Field Mall. The N24 going to Jamaica. And the N40 and N41 going to Freeport. And of course the N23. That goes to Port Washington. But Kevin Law is so. Look at this. According to the schedule, the last N22 bus towards Jamaica is at 10:56. So in less than an hour from now. And the last N24 bus towards Jamaica is at 11:26. So between 11:26 and 4:15 in the morning, you're on your own because there's no bus at that time.
Your office has set up that meeting, and I'll be happy to participate as well.
Yes, yes, certainly it's actually a good time for us to go back and provide an update. When we met several months earlier with the mayor, the senator, and assemblyman, and with regards to Babylon Station, a number of initiatives actually have been completed as we committed to. The seating and the areas where we saw quality of life issues congregating, we've eliminated those. Now we've seen it shift to another area near the bus station, and we're talking with the bus company with regards to further tackling that. We've also installed security cameras as we promised. I've been told that they were finished on Friday and they're functioning now. So our Office of Security has the ability to monitor the station continuously. And we'll work closely, obviously, with MTA PD with regards to any observations. We also expect the new help points that we're installing at ground level, not just at platform level, to be sometime in mid-October. So we're going to continue that, and certainly we'd be more than happy to set up that meeting and go back and give an update to Babylon.
Chief, Randy?
Yeah, I was driving in Natty Wet recently, and I was happy to see an MTA police car at the new Clarkstown Road grade crossing. It's one that people just don't know how to read the signs that says don't stop on the tracks, but your officer was, and everything was flowing nicely through there. Thank you for being there.
Okay, thank
We
you.
don't get to see MTA police in Rockland that much.
Rhonda?
Look at this. I'm looking at Wikipedia regarding Babylon. Babylon Station is in Suffolk County, in the village with the same name, and is covered by the Suffolk County Transit. The routes S20, 23, 25, 27, 29, 40, 42, and 47. But once again, we don't want the mainline commuters to keep suffering the consequences of being neglected. It is time that the LIRR shifts its focus from Babylon to places like Mineola, Flower Park, Merrick, all those places in Nassau County. So, Now, we're going to turn our attention to transit.
Okay.
Before we go forward on transit, um, 2 hours before transit, we got information of a unfortunate incident this very morning around 8 o'clock in the morning when a 45-year-old man committed suicide by jumping in front of an incoming 4 train at Kingsbridge Road with his 5-year-old daughter. He didn't survive. His daughter did. And the 4 train was suspended for about 4 hours between Burnside and Woodlawn. I mentioned that during my speech, plus I mentioned it in private with Andy Byford, that why we don't have signage of suicide prevention like we have in SEPTA or in Washington Metro, that they have a signage of suicide prevention. And the only closest thing that I could think of is the Staten Island Railway at Tottenville. That when I was there the last time, I saw a suicide prevention sign at the end of the platform in the north side of the station. But since that Salmeyer wasn't there, we couldn't address the issue with her directly because obviously she is in maternity leave. But of course, we heard from Sally Libera regarding the giving us an update regarding the incident of this past Saturday night on the F train. Let's listen in to Sally Libera.
Will not get into a situation where we are cutting back service in a draconian fashion. I certainly don't intend to do that. And I'm very grateful to you, Chair, for saying that you have our backs when it comes to making difficult decisions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to recognize Sally Librera to go through the subway report. Sally?
Good morning. Before beginning my report, I would like to talk a little bit about the incident that happened on the F line on Saturday night. So at around 8 o'clock on Saturday night, an F train that was heading into Manhattan had its brakes emergency activated between Parsons Boulevard and Sutphin Boulevard. Upon inspection of the track side, we found that one of the wheel sets on the front truck in the first car had come off of the rails and was on the ground. We were able to safely move about 200 customers through the train, through a reach train that was pulled up behind so that the customers could safely evacuate at Parsons. The service disruption was lengthy because we did a full safety inspection. System safety led that inspection. We re-railed the train. We completed some minor track repairs that were caused by the incident, and we thoroughly inspected the roadbed to ensure that there were no further hazards. The incident is still under review jointly by our system safety partners and by our engineering and maintenance leads. So we'll be able to report more details as we learn them. So moving on to my monthly report.
Okay, so basically, Sally Rivera explained what happened on Saturday night. But again, just like Tim Minton did on Saturday night on that press conference, denied the fact that was a derailment. But she said that the first wheels of the first truck on the first car came off the rail and ended up in the ground. I don't know why she didn't use the term derailed, nor Tim Minton on Saturday night. Why didn't they use it? We don't know. But certainly, this issue of train brakes being automatically activated, it's a daily occurrence. And for that matter, we're going to go to our email alert system. Oh, now we have northbound B and D trains are running on the R between DeKalb Avenue and 57th Street, 7th Avenue, while crews move a work train over the Manhattan Bridge. An hour ago, we had a 12-9, almost a 12-9, on the M line between Murder Avenue and Central Avenue. Disrupted passengers on the Queens Boulevard local line. Medical assistance. Disrupted passengers. Door problems on the 2 and the 3 this afternoon. Door problems on the G. Police activity, NYPD assistance. Look at this one. 9 in the morning. Southbound B and D trains are proceeding with delays after we move a train that had its brakes activated on the Manhattan Bridge. When the incident was reported, 8:55 in the morning. Switch malfunction on the Culver line. Sick passenger. NYPD activity. The issue at Kingsbridge Road that happened at 8 o'clock this morning. And we could go on and on and on and on. Look at this. At 1:39 in the morning, northbound D trains are proceeding with delays after a train brakes were activated at Fort Hamilton Parkway. Look at this one. At 12:36 in the morning, we had northbound 4 and 6 trains ran express between 14th Street Union Square and 125th while they investigated why the train brakes were activated at GCT. And we're talking about at 12:36 early this morning. That demonstrates that the train brakes being automatically activated, it's a daily occurrence, not in a single line. It happens in multiple lines. Now, let's go to finance. And let's end this up with Murray Bolden.
Changed. Some of those rules that were written 50 years ago are obsolete today, and yet we can't stop them from being used. I've done all I can. I have brought to your attention items that are no longer valid. In the regulations, there is a section that says if it doesn't work, don't use it. Document it with official engineering, but don't do stupid. Too many things around here are being done stupid. It's not safe, it's a waste of money, creates road rage unnecessarily, and old people like me just can't keep up. This business of branding is another language. It's hieroglyphics. You want me to learn a whole new language of hieroglyphics and signs instead of words? My generation grew up with words, not pictures. You create a whole new set of pictures, that's a whole new language for me to learn. I'm a little too old to learn it. It's my grandchildren's responsibility in their lives. And your job is to help them live successfully. I've been here
This concludes your remarks, Mr. Bowden. Thank you.
I've been here too long. I want to thank all those people who have helped me over the years, because I could not have done it without their education.
No, we have to laugh every time that the cynical brat of Murray Bolden speaks. Because he is let's say a comedian himself. Because he makes all these arguments. Years ago he started with the light bulbs, and then he transitioned into flashy red lights at great crossings, and now he's talking about between changes and things are obsolete, blah blah blah. We don't need to hear that nonsense. We don't need to hear that nonsense. But from a dumb person, let's go to a brain. Our fellow contributor, Andy's randomness. he brought very interesting points about the capital plan. And lot thereof, elevators at 7th Avenue, 53rd Street. Let's listen in.
On the Long Island Railroad. I want to see more switches replaced along the main line. I also want to see each side access completed. I also want to see concrete ties installed between Floral Park and Hicksville for the third track, along with the continued rollout of the M9 fleet, plus the upgrade promised for my home station, Jamaica. For one quick point regarding Metro North, I would hope the proposed Penn Station access for the New Haven line will get done. And finally, for New York City Transit. I'm very happy to see the success of CBTC along the 7 and the rollout of the new Flyer Excelsior XD60 buses along the Q12 bus route between Flushing and Little Neck. But let's make sure we can successfully get rid of the Orion 7 old-gen buses. I also want to see more modern signals and tracks along the Queens Boulevard line, the second phase of the 2nd Avenue subway expanding to 125th Street in Harlem. And to conclude my remarks, I'm glad Woodhaven Boulevard, Hoyt Schermerhorn Street, and the Museum of Natural History 81st Street are getting elevators. But why didn't 7th Avenue and West 53rd Street get an elevator after the incident that took place back in January? And I wonder why the underground platforms of Broadway Junction along the A and the C didn't get elevators, yet only the J, L, and Z lines will be getting them. I hope the elevator situation will be reevaluated at the Broadway Junction station. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That concludes the...
There you guys had our fellow contributor, Andy Randomness. Very good points, going straight to them. He started with the LIRR, Metro North, and of course, subways and buses. And we don't have nothing to disagree with Andy's randomness. In other words, we totally agree with everything that he mentioned during his speech. And of course, the elevator situation at 7th Avenue 53rd Street, the elevator construction at Hoyt Schermerhorn, Woodhaven Boulevard and the Queens Boulevard line for those who go to the Queens Central Mall, and 3/4 of Broadway Junction, Easter Parkway, Fulton Street, and Van Sinderen Avenue. Only Broadway Junction, Easter Parkway, and Fulton Street will be getting the elevators. So that means the L, the J, and the Z, not the Fulton Street line. Let's bring the accessibility map for one moment. There you guys can see something. Okay, this list of stations is as of August 2019. And of course, they added Newton's Dredge and 62nd Street. Let's zoom into the area. Okay, that's better. Okay, if you're a commuter on the Fulton Street line, the closest ADA accessible station is Utica and Euclid. That's if you live in between Euclid and Utica. But in general, the whole Fulton Street line only has J Street Metrotech, Franklin Avenue, Utica, and Euclid. So if you're on the A and C, and if you're in Broadway Junction, Eastern Parkway, Fulton Street, and Van Sinderen Avenue, from the subway station, you will have to take the B25 bus that runs along Fulton Street onto Utica Avenue to use the elevator to go either to Manhattan or to Queens. If you're a J and Z riders, right now you only have luck at Marcy, Flushing Avenue, and Thornton Archer. If you live between Thornton Archer and Flushing Avenue, the chances are you're out of luck. If you're an L train rider, you're out of luck if you're between Canarsie, Wilson Avenue partially, and Myrtle Wyckoff. But here's the thing regarding Canarsie and Walkway Park. Both stations are at street level. So the need for an elevator won't be necessary. A ramp will be. Because as we said, both stations are at street level. So let's go to Twitter because we have a lot to cover. And this is the front page of Newsday. On modernized railroad, LIRR chief says that 5.7 billion spending plan will include new trains, longer station platforms, and upgraded signals. That tweet is from Alfonso Castillo. Then we had Clayton tweeting all along. And of course, we have this article from the New York Post. That says MTA chief hails Post for exposing subway crime, warns it might spread. But come on, at least Patrick Foy is acknowledging, in other words, he is accepting as true the report that David Meyer did for the New York Post. Let's read this sentence. NYPD Transit Chief Edward De La Torre highlighted Thursday's arrest of James Hunt, allegedly groping a 13-year-old girl who was buying a Metro card at 42nd Street, Bryant Park. That was exclusively reported by the Post. Then Hunt has a record of more than 60 arrests and more than half involving sexual misconduct, and all taking place on the ground. And then we're going to read these two last sentences. A bill that lets the MTA bar certain types of criminals from the subways passed the state Senate in June, but failed to win approval from the Assembly before the legislature session ended. Earlier this month, Governor Andrew Mark Cuomo called for lifetime bans on serial sex offenders, saying, quote, the definition of insanity will be allowed this conduct to continue unabatedly and somehow expect our transit system to improve. And of course, we had great news from SEPTA. They they they're gonna they're gonna they're gonna do renovations on Paoli. That's the second busiest train station in the SEPTA region after 30th Street, and a cost of $48 million. And of course, Clinton Gus reported presence of asbestos in the East New York Depot. What we mentioned at the beginning of our live stream, the Gothamists mentioned it. We mentioned about Vince Baron's article about the bumpy bus ride. Even this video of the rescue, what happened this morning at Kingsbridge Road on the 4 line. And look at this tweet from Steven Nielsen. Says now the MTA has paid Alex Partners $4 million for a reorganization plan. It has hired another firm to help the MTA to implement a plan the first plan that the last consultant came with. Got it. Transit Cognoscenti. But of course, if Alex Partners has the expertise regarding transformation? Why is it asked? Oh, and the whole contract is 4.15 million. Of those 4.15, 2.2 million is for executive recruitment services. The rest for Alex Partners to implement transformation. But my question is, did did the MTA asked Alex Partners? That's a good question to ask. And look at this other tweet. MTA board members and chair of Transit Committee Sarah Feinberg says she has been trying to meet with Corey Johnson for a month to talk transit. I know you love transit cordial. What's the deal? Top fare fares, city road, etc. We know that Corey Johnson, or in other words, the darling of Chelsea, has been, let's say, pretty much proactive in throwing the MTA under the bus. And that's a big NO. Look at this tweet from Dan Rivoli. Board member Veronica Vanderpool says MTA should scrap Wi-Fi instead of cutting bus service, an idea MTA pitched in its budget docs. Byford replies, these are adjustments, not the entire routes being cut, but recognizes tough financial outlook for its operational budget. A tweet from Rachel Foss from Williamville, Albany. Again, with discussion with pros and cons to MTH service cost adjustment, we need to think about whether 41 million a year for more cops is better use of public transit funds than keeping or increasing bus service. And starting October 7th, bus lane enforcement cameras will be on the M15 select bus service corridors. That means on 1st and 2nd Avenue. This is the individual that we mentioned earlier. And this is a tweet from Vince Barone that the MTA will test having conductors on the one line, making on-train announcements when elevators are out of service, plus information on where access the closest working elevator. For example, SEPTA, at least on the Market Frankfurt line, when it reaches 30th Street, it says next stop, 30th Street, a wheelchair accessible station. Or 2nd Street, same thing. But Dan Vivoli took Yanni Rodriguez's testimony, talk about bus cuts. Just think about 2009 to 2010, referring to the 2010 service massacre, the massacre like we call it, when we lost the V and the W train. But the W train was resurrected 6.5 years later, but not the V. But could this be another 2010 doomsday? We don't know yet, but we hope that doesn't come a reality. So, let's see if the materials for Wednesday are available to take a look at them. But before we do that, we have delays on the B, D, N, and Q trains. We have expect longer wait times on northbound N and Q trains as they remove a work train over the Manhattan Bridge. And northbound B and D trains has resumed making regular stops after our crews move a work train over the Manhattan Bridge. Go to transparency, board meetings and committee materials. September. Remember, this Wednesday at 8 a.m. is the audit committee, at 9 a.m. is safety, and at 10 a.m. is the full board meeting. Oopsie. 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 We have an epic fail. we cannot access the food board book for, I don't know for what reason. See, it says this site cannot be reached. That's an epic fail. But anyways, we want to thank everybody for joining us. Sorry, Andy Q. Thank you, Andy, for correcting me. So, that being said, we want to thank everybody for joining us. Stay tuned for our coverage on Wednesday. Because Wednesday we will see a little bit of everything, including discussion of the capital plan that should be approved by the board and adopted by October 15th, the latest. So stay tuned to our Twitter feed like always, and we'll see you guys later.